Today we're finally making a snowman frogger. But I'm so sorry they don't stack! First we needed to acquire our research. However, it's 55 degrees here. We will need alternative research. That was most helpful. We have two versions. The first one's going to be 3 frogs trying very hard to look like a snowman. We need one to hold some sticks, and one holding a carrot in his mouth, which we're all going to be very normal about, right? And our second version is going to be an actual snowman frog. I need to give him some snow texture, which doesn't look at all like ground beef, and he is done. I did try button eyes on him. It's time for paint. Our little snowman is going to have a blue color scheme, and I want our frog stack to still kind of look like a frog, so we're going to base him off of this white tree frog. We're going to need a bunch of slimy greens and blues and tans. You know the drill. We're going to do lots of layers of dry brushing, and finish him off with some red accents. And they are done. Here's the snowman, and here is our snow stack. I hope you love them. Thanks for watching. Okay, this is the frog that finally broke me. We're making a peppermint frog and candy cane salamander. Now that we're very out of season, I had to have this imported by a special elf. How does one eat this thing? Like this, silly. Okay, like this. Glurp, delicious. Sculpting actually was pretty easy. We have our salamander, and then I thought we needed an extra silly version. Look at this worm. Now for our peppermint. Oops, oops. And after all that, I realized that I actually wanted this version. I had to print and prime them. Now paint is where the trouble started. I don't know if it was my new paintbrush or this red, but I just couldn't stop getting this everywhere. You can call it a skill issue if you want. I just kept smearing it everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Usually I can kind of erase the paint when it's still wet, but not this red. Eventually I called it good enough. I popped these little ties in. I tried a UV resin coat to try to save me on half of them. I think I like it on the candy cane, but I definitely prefer the glossy clear coat on the peppermint. Let me know what you think, and thanks so much for watching me struggle. Also, tell me what you want for a Lunar New Year frog. Hee hee. We're gonna make a snow globe frog today. This was voted for by my patrons for my Patreon Frogger of the Month. But of course, a few of you have asked for this as well. First, we need to sculpt him, and the first struggle is making him not terrifying. As requested, this is going to be a frog base with a frog globe and a, that's right, frog inside. Now, sculpting was easy, and I thought the difficult part would be getting the water on the inside because this will have water. But the biggest struggle was getting a clear printed globe. Unfortunately, my first few tries were less than successful. Let's focus on the positives. The 6th time's the charm. We have 2 beautiful bulbous boys. Luckily, paint was a much needed break from the chaos. We're going for a gold and ivory color scheme. Here I'm using Duncan Rhodes 2 thin coats paints. Give our globe some eyeballs. Greetings, my child. However, don't get too attached to him. I've made 2. One we're gonna put water in. The other one I'm gonna leave dry. Yes, I immediately murdered him. You know what? It's fine. We'll just move on without him. For your one remaining globe, you will need distilled water, glycerin, and some glitter. We're gluing it underwater so that we can avoid air bubbles and using a marine sealant. Need to let it set up for 24 hours, and then you have 1, that's right, 1, because we killed his brother, let's ignore that, 1 snow globe. He's still a little cloudier than I would like, but if you saw my long form video, you would know that we went through a lot, and I'm just happy that we got here. Also enjoy the lineup of him with his deceased brothers. Thanks so much for watching. It's time for winter citrus. We'll be making a blood orange vampire bat and an orange frogger. I gathered research, time to find out if this is actually a blood orange. It's a bloody orange, I guess? Now I am basing the orange off of this wonderful fan art that I received forever ago. Also, we have indeed hit 400,000 subscribers. Next kick layer is coming, however, in the meantime, this video is going to be a giveaway. There will be a pinned comment with more information. All you need to do is leave a comment on this video. Thank you and good luck! Now our blood orange is based off a vampire bat, so I adjusted its ears, added some citrus flesh, and of course we need 2 little teethers for fangs. Yes, he does bite. Look at his tiny teeth! Oops! We just need to print them. And rejoice, for our fancy stick technology is back. It's time to paint them up. I'm going to paint the blood orange to be a little bit darker than the regular orange. I know that that's not actually how it works, but I wanted to be able to distinguish the 2 of them. I'm going to dry brush and paint up all of his membranes, and then we need some septic green for our orange tops. And they are done! Are you team bat or frog? I do think I prefer the tiny ball of fury that is the orange frog. Thanks for watching! Okay, this is going to be one of 2 Lunar New Year frogs. We're making a mooncake frog. Luckily, my Costco has blessed me with research. Now my understanding is that mooncakes, at least in Chinese culture, are more so for Mid-Autumn Festival, but it seems like in other areas like Vietnam, mooncakes are still really popular for Lunar New Year. Please feel free to educate me in the comments. Regardless, there were so many mooncake requests that I figured we at least had to make one. The most difficult part of sculpting was getting the intricate design on the top. I hope I did it justice. We just need to print him out, and yes, he's a little horrifying right now. Don't worry, we'll fix it. We're going to paint him up, and now the key to making a fake mooncake is to brush on lots of layers of dry brushing, and specifically this bone wash color that I have. This worked really well. After many layers of bony wash, I finished it off with a few speckles of gloss varnish. And he is done. But wait, hold on, we must find out what flavor he is. It appears we have one beautiful red bean paste with salted yolk interior. Thanks for watching. We have one more Lunar New Year frog coming. You all have asked for it. To celebrate the Lunar New Year, we'll be making a snake frogger and a lantern bat. Originally, I wanted to make a snake wearing a lion dance costume. However, I started sculpting and realized that maybe I actually don't know how to sculpt, like at all. But instead of choosing violence, I decided that we'd make a frog and a snake onesie. We need to give him some teeths and some matching tongues. Starting with our bat friend, we must make him round. Gaze upon his impressive size. And to prove my love for you, I'll even learn some Z remodeler. And here is our bat. Now we just need to paint them up, starting with some gold for a snake. Now we must paint the frog, and do you know what time it is? If you said troll snot green time, then you are correct. Now don't get mad at me, but for the lantern bat, I did try him at first in a red clear resin, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I decided instead that we're going to paint it and try to fake the glow. Also, casual reminder, if your paint doesn't come out, stop squeezing the bottle. Alright, now I'm going to need you to hold my hand for this, because now I have to go in and try to fake the glow of the lantern. We're going to just dry brush our hearts out with all of these colors. And you really just gotta trust the process. Just keep trusting the process. It'll be okay. Okay, crisis averted. I think it looks okay now. We're gonna add some gold accents, and then they are done. I know the bat should probably have some fun designs on him. However, I was too nervous. Let me know which one you prefer. I think I might actually prefer the bat. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Life has given me pine cones, and so I shall give you all a pine cone frogger. We must make him grumpy because he is also spiky. Now for the difficult part, making all of his little pine cone phalanges. Petals? What are they? Oh, they're scales. And this is gonna take a while, so I'm just gonna here it comes, here it comes. Now, thanks to our plentiful research, I can tell you that scabbard brown is the perfect pine cone brown. And then we'll dry brush on some Chronos flesh. Chronos flesh, more like pine cone flesh. Next, I want to add these little prickles. Oh, don't look at that. We're going to add all these little prickles around here. Help, I've been sapped! Speaking of sap, for a finishing touch, I'm going to take some UV resin and mix it with this yellowish chalk to make little snot berries of sap. And voila, you have two prickly pinecone brothers. I hope you love them. Thanks so much for watching. Also, yes, that pinecone did hurt. Do you ever just want to become a worm? Like, return to dirt, become worm? Well, same, but instead we're going to make macaron froggers today. I gathered my very important research, and to start off we're going to flatten my mistletoe berry frog. We must give him a spectacular macaron foot, and because Valentine's Day is around the corner, we're going to make them Valentine themed, and mustn't forget his macaron pores. And don't yell at me, but the cream is not going to be a frog. I know, fight me! And one of my followers has been asking for ages for an extra happy version with his arms raised. To keep on the theme, I think we're going to make one of these pink. I'm going to use my custom pink. Don't mind that it says tongue. Also, the miniature world needs more warm pinks. Now, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite macaron flavors is definitely zombie rot, matcha. Not quite as on theme, but it does make me think about the dirt. As usual, we're going to layer on some dry brushing and finish up all of his little details, and then you have some macaron froggers. I think I like the pink one the most. There's something about pink food that really satisfies my desire to eat fake cartoon food that I can't really explain. I hope you love them. Thanks for watching. It's time for the Patreon Frogger of the Month. We'll be making a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day, which is good timing because many of you have asked for this as well. And you know I grabbed some research for this, so it was a struggle to keep them away from prying hands. Get back! Those are my chocolates! Be gone! Hiss! Boo! Fear not, I saved the research. Oops, don't look at that. We will need a giant heart-shaped frog so we can turn him into a box and stuff him with chocolates. First I made some simple frog truffles. Of course we'll need some tadpoles. I really wanted them to be those cute little heart-shaped chocolates, however, it looks a little suspect. Next we had to make the lid, which I was not too concerned about until I made my first attempt. Ah yes, perfect. After toasting my brain in the microwave a few times, I think we figured out a solution. Look, in theory it works. Now we must print. We're going to paint. Nothing says love like Hellspawn red. Oh no, it begins! Going to go through and add the details to our tiny chocolates. I know the tiny ones are very cute, but my god, are they too tiny to paint. But our box is done. Time to assemble our frocklets. The lid does fit, though just barely. I think the tadpoles are my favorite. Thanks for watching. Okay, you're probably wondering how we got here. Well, for Valentine's Day, I decided that we're going to make some conversation hearts. Started with some research. I forgot how many different versions there were, but tell me why these OG ones had such a cursed aura about them. Also, dear god, I hope this says pick me. They were also the worst tasting. I think we're gonna go off of these. These seem the most classic to me. For sculpting, we'll need a heart and some squidge, and I don't remember what I was trying to convey here, so enjoy. But trouble started when I decided it might be cute to give one a kissy face. Oh no, no. I thought this was a fail, but so many of you loved him, so you know what? We had to make him. It's time to paint our hearts, and luckily I have my research here so I know what colors to choose. We're using mostly pastel colors, and my purple was clogged, and my pink was also clogged. We must paint their luscious lips, including some rouge. And we need some cute sayings, so we have a classic XOXO, a kiss me, I'm a prince, suggested by my husband, I froggin' love you, and a ribbit. And here's our little bowl of candies. Let me know which one's your favorite. Thanks for watching, and happy Valentine's Day. We need another cake layer. If you are new here, I have hit 400,000 subscribers, and for every subscriber milestone that I hit, I add a new cake tier to my frog cake monstrosity. And this time I have made the controversial decision to make this an all but frog cake. Also, sculpting was not going well, and I had to harvest a butt from one of my other cakes. It's also going to be daisy themed, which is going to bring new meaning to the phrase fresh as a daisy. However, midway through sculpting, I did decide that this needed one face. Printing went well, however, it was taking forever to cure them on the inside, so my husband drilled some holes with mixed results. Next we had to assemble it so we could prime and paint it, which was a bit of a struggle because it kept raining on me! Now paint is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just kidding, it took forever because I put all of this piping detail. Mustn't forget our booty highlights. And our cake is done, and if you're wondering about that green boy beneath him, don't worry, we'll get to him next. Thank you so much to everyone for joining on the frog journey. I can't believe that we hit 400,000 subscribers. It's been kind of bananas, but I hope you like the cake, and thanks for watching. Okay, it's time to talk about this lad. One of my followers for ages has been asking for a giant frog plate to serve the frog cake on, and we're gonna do that for this layer. I decided that he needed to be lily pad shaped. The struggle is always making it look like a frog. Like, what is this? There we go. Now we need our lily pad texture, all of the fun veins. I like my frog plates veiny. Now we need to figure out how we're going to chop them up to print. It'll be a tight fit, but I think we can cut them up into 4 quarters. We technically can fit 2 on the print bed, but I do not have enough resin in the vat, so we'll have to print them one by one. We have just a little bit of warping, so we're going to patch it up in 3, 2, 1. Can we have a moment of appreciation for the sheer size of this thing? It's huge. We're going to need a lot of green paint. But now I need to paint, and I'm going to attempt to give these brownish reddish veins like in this picture, so wish me luck. It was looking a little too orange, so I went in and added this green glaze over the top. And he is done! Now, in theory, the cake is hopefully going to only get bigger, so he's not going to be able to be a plate for forever. So while he's a beautiful cake plate for now, I'm hoping that in the future I can coat him with some food-safe epoxy and make him a wonderful charcuterie board. In the meantime, here he is as a faux charcuterie board. Thanks for watching. Alright, we have some cursed catching up to do. We're making our Oops Bat and Oops Peppermint. However, in a wonderful turn of events, when I went searching for my files, yes, I know my file management sucks, I found this, which I had no recollection of, so let's find out what it is. Oh my god, he's perfect. We're making him. He kind of gives me no-face vibes, so that's what we're going for when we paint him. Now, as for our other 2 cursed boys, we have our bat and our peppermint. I think I want the bat to be grapefruit themed, so he's a blood grapefruit bat. Doesn't matter, it's gonna be cute. Though I don't have a great vibrant peach pink. However, I wasn't sure what I want to do for the peppermint. We're not doing red stripes again because that was a mess. I think I want him to be like these icebreakers where he's like speckled in blue. He might just look diseased. You'll have to let me know. But here he is, done. We have our grapefruit vampire bat, and of course our no-face friend. Look at him, I love him. And here's our ever-growing cursed lineup. Thanks for watching. Long ago, I simply asked you all, round or square waffle, and you asked if you could keep it 50-50 if we could have both. I agreed, but you all failed! So today we're making square waffle frogs. So I gathered research. Don't look at my dirty toaster. I got distracted and burnt my waffle. It was delicious, but Too hot. I do not have syrup, so we're going to use ice cream. For sculpting, we're going to need a box. I masked out a grid and pushed in the details. I felt like the waffle pattern on the bottom looked weird and not frog-like, so we're going to give him frog abs. Can't forget his little waffle butt. I also made a stackable version. It's time to paint, and I underestimated how annoying it would be to paint all of these divots. I started dry brushing the top, but then I realized to my horror that actually on a waffle, the toastiness is on the inside, in the divots. So we'll have to backtrack some. That's okay. Can't forget ab contouring. And of course I made a little butter and whipped cream friend. On to the scariest part, adding the syrup, which is scary because if I mess up, I can't really fix it. Let's see how I did. We have our buff waffle. And then of course we have our little party gang here. I love the stacking potential for all of these and the combination of little butters and strawberries and whipped creams that I could add. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. I have placed myself in the corner of shame because it has taken me 10 months to make a dumpling frogger, and the real ones will know that all of this reference has been in my freezer since May. I finally decided on this shape, partially because of this fan art that I received. I think it's only appropriate that I start with our angry orange base. I smoothed him out, and now we need to shape him and give him new wrinkles. He was looking pretty good, except he needed more heft. I need him to have more weight, gravity, much better. Now we need to address his dumpliness, because that's not how they work. We're also going to give him a cute little dish so he can sit in his own broth. Bring forth the child. Alright, for paint we're going to need all these flesh colors. This is going to be a pretty simple paint job. We're just going to base him out and dry brush. I sprayed him with a nice gloss coat off screen, and then I'm going to paint up his bowl. I kind of want to go for a faux ceramic look. After a little bit of dry brushing, now we need his goo. In retrospect, it seems a little cruel to force him to stay in his juices for the end of time, but I hope you like him. Here he is in his dish, and here he is on his own. I'm sorry it took so long, but thanks for watching. People keep asking me, where do you store all of your thousands of frogs, it seems. I'm afraid the situation's a little dire. You're not gonna like it. So all of my larger projects have ended up being decoration around my house because I have nowhere else to put them. And all of my stock for drops ends up on this baker's rack. All of the others, though, are stored on these shelves that my husband made a while back on this janky cart. Don't mind that. And they are deceptively big. I can actually store all of my current frogs on here. I do keep one of each frog, but that's something that I only started doing a few months in, so I am missing a lot of the beginning ones. And while this has worked out well, I am very quickly running out of space. So I'm open to solutions. The problem is all of my wall space is pretty much taken up. Also, shout out to Henry from Perth, Australia for this beautiful painting. But yes, my walls are full, my home is full, so I don't know what to do next. Feel free to send ideas my way. Thanks for watching. It's time for the Patreon Frogger of the Month. We'll be making a geode frogger. There was much discussion over whether it should be on his belly or his back. Most people voted for belly, but a few voted for mouth. So we're gonna do both. I started with my mouth hot cocoa frogger. That never happened. But we need to squish him about and make him a little more irregular and lumpy. Now that we have some nice rock texture, I need to add the geode part, which means I needed to once again call in my husband to reteach me nanomesh technology because I just don't get it. Like, what does that mean? Oh, I see. So we have our frog on his back and his only, slightly more terrifying mouth brother. Also, I made one with his tongue out, but I sadly forgot him in the rain. But it's time to paint. The mouth is going to be printed with clear resin separately, so we just need to paint up our rocks. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to try a darker and a lighter version, and we're just kind of experimenting and seeing what happens. For the stone part, I did consider painting like reflex and stuff on the backside, but I printed it wrong to do that effectively. So instead I decided to try out a few different backdrop colors. Shout out to Demon Red. Now I just need to glue their mouths in, and they are done! I need to do more of these two-part resin colors because I really love how they turn out. They're always a lot of fun. The inside piece unfortunately does not fit in as well as I was hoping, but I still think they turned out pretty cool. Thanks for watching. We are gathered here today due to an overwhelming demand for an asparagus. My children, what is this betrayal? I don't know how to sculpt a goose, but I will try for you all. We started off alright, looking like a goose. Just ignore the feet, please. We'll come back to those later. I layered a bunch of petal shapes so that we could get our spears and made sure to texture them up, though we do need to address these. I masked out a foot shape, and I was feeling alright at this point, but oh god, what have I done? I hate feet. I hate them. Alright, this is what we got. This is as good as it's gonna get. And I can hear you now. Asparagus doesn't go this way. Asparagus goes this way. So here's your reverse asparagus. Let's print them out. Alright, for paint we're going to need a bunch of greens. Here we go. Unsurprisingly, this is just going to be a butt ton of dry brushing. And before you say it, I know, he needs to be longer, but there can only be one asparagus, so I need you to tell me, do you prefer aspara butt or aspara face? The winner will gain mighty length. Thanks for watching. Asparagus. Now how am I supposed to stick to my schedule of frogs when you all keep distracting me with gold such as this? Today we'll be making a dumple for our dumpling. We must start by plumping him up and giving him extra chubby cheeks and a cute little smile. Now for the sake of my safety, I did print him hollow so he is nice and light. We're gonna paint him up the same way we painted our mini version. He's really just a bunch of flesh tones. And can I show this on YouTube? We're going to dry brush all of his folds and then give him some nice rouge on his cheeks. Oops, that's too much rouge. That's okay, that's okay. Take your leftover foundation on your foundation brush. Yeah, much better. Okay, we're just gonna finish up the details and spray him with a nice gloss coat. Here's our dumpling. And our dumple. And there you have it. One dumpling and one dumple. Thank you for indulging me. Sometimes I feel like, why make new thing when I can make same thing but big? I hope you love them. Thanks for watching. Okay, I was supposed to make this for Valentine's Day, but we're just a little bit late. We'll be making a rose frogger today. We'll need to start with a rosebud and add some petals. And, how do we always end up here? It's okay, we'll just add some more petals, it'll be fine. They may look like blobs, but if we trust the process and give him some texture, ta-da! It was highly requested that he look like Bulbasaur, and at the risk of him looking like Ivysaur, I am going to add these leaves. I'm going to print them out. Ah, thorns! Wow, not a scratch. Bow before your impervious king. For paint, I'll be trying 3 different color schemes. We're going to make one like a traditional rose, one like a wither rose from Minecraft, and of course we must make one Bulbasaur, well, Ivysaur inspired. Ivysaur was the most fun because it's not often I get to use these candy colors. And they are done. We have our rose, our spooky wither rose, and of course our knockoff Bulbasaur slash Ivysaur. Let me know your favorite, and thanks for watching. Also, I have nail pins in my shop. It is time to extend our asparagus. I gotta be honest, I thought it was gonna be easier to tell who won, though there were a lot of thoughts. It seems that overall, Asparabutt may be cuter, but he is definitely an artichoke, not an asparagus. And so Artiface shall gain the gift of length. And I am printing them with bases this time, because while the last ones technically did stand, it was a little precarious. But fear not, Asparabutt lovers, for Asparabutt shall gain the gift of girth. In the form of an artichoke, I had to make her a worthy size for her tall partner. We need to print them out, but they're gonna have some heft. It's time to paint, and you all will be very happy to hear that for artichoke green I have chosen troll snot green. Troll snot green, more like artichoke snot! Just as before, it's a lot of dry brushing. Just take your frustrations out on the goose. Can't forget the subtle brown tones and finishing details. And they are done. I would ask you which one you prefer, however they are partners never meant to be separated ever again, so you don't get to decide. Thanks for watching. And yes, the STLs are available on my website. Today we're fulfilling 2 very long-standing requests I've had, a literal square and a literal sphere. I mean puffball mushroom. Ta-da! Done. Okay, fine, we'll finesse it some more. So much finessing. Here is how our beautiful square is looking. Now we must take a sphere and turn it into a puffball mushroom. Now to make him a mushroom, I do need to give him some lovely lumps and some lovely squeege. And it seems like puffball mushrooms have a subtle veining texture to them. However, by the time I was done, golly, I just don't have the words. We're going to move on. I went ahead and printed and primed them. And yikes, I thought the texture would get better with printing, but we're going to just sand some of that down. Now it may not look like I'm doing much on camera, but I am applying various tones of white and applying some dirt. I wasn't sure how to paint our square, but I think the effect will be best if we paint him like a normal frog. And before you all say it, that's not a square, that's a cube! Alright, take this. Whack! Okay, technically it's a rectangle, but I can only print in 3 dimensions. And here's our sweet, totally just a mushroom, nothing weird frog. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson of shapes with sorrel. Alright, we got a list of your frog suggestions that I think are gonna look like little turds. Disclaimer, these aren't bad ideas. I would still make all of these. This is just a warning that they might look like little poops. Alright, first up we have cookie dough, which I see the vision, but a light brown lumpy ball with little dark brown balls, I think it just might look like a poop. Say 3 out of 5 poop potential. Brownie frog, I do think if I made it a cosmic brownie that would be helpful, but it might just look like rainbow sprinkles on a poop frog. 4 out of 5. Poop potential. Alright, next is a raisin hippo. Immediate turd. The only reason why humans see raisins and think raisin and not turd is because raisins have like a little bit of a translucency to the skin that tells you fruit and not poop. I can't really do that with printing resin, at least. I would go with 5 out of 5 poop potential. You know, if you're dying to see any of these, because I will make them, but you have been warned. Thanks. It's time for the Patreon Frog of the Month. We'll be making a Plague Doctor frog. Months ago, he just barely lost out to our Fallen Leaves frog, so it was a long time coming. Don't worry, I'm gonna give him a flower so he'll be spring appropriate. Making the mask was pretty simple, though I am a little worried that he's going to look like a bird with his bird mask. That's okay. However, the real challenge is going to be this drapery. I haven't sculpted actual drapery before, so here we go. I extruded his arm skin and just added some lumpy bumps to it. Hey, that wasn't so bad. We just need to print him out. Now, I think you all will be very happy to know that I have chosen Rodent Gray to paint our beautiful Plague Doctor. Next, we'll paint up all of his details, but it was at this moment that I second-guessed everything and wondered, is this even a frog anymore? Can I call this a frog? I decided to ask my patrons what they thought, and one very smartly pointed out that I could have his mask up, and then he would look more like a frog, which I thought was too good not to make. And so here we have our Plague Doctor frog, along with his little mini minion, so that you can tell that he is definitely a frog, he just doesn't have his mask up. Let me know if you have a preference. Thanks for watching. Okay, so you all really liked the SQUOG, and you had some great suggestions for SQUOG alternatives, so we're gonna speed through them. Easiest first, we have Jello. I just reprinted him in some red clear resin and gave him a nice glossy UV resin coat, and ta-da! Simple, but effective. Next up is Icecube, and we are going to modify the model by softening him some and also making him a sad, melted friend. I printed them in clear and gave them some defining lines, and of course, we need a hefty coat of UV resin to make him extra clear. Look at these pitiful melting boys! Alright, next is Tofu, and I do need to do some sculpting for this because he needs some tofu texture, and I love tofu, so I'm making him happy. This one I do actually have to paint, just a base coat and some dry brushing, and he is done. Oh my god, I love him! Alright, Gelatinous Cube is next. I needed to offer him some bones, and just trust me, they're in there. I printed him in clear green, and now I need to go in and paint his little hidden bones so we can see them from the outside. Okay, well, you can't see them yet, but we'll give him some clear coat and it'll help. And ta-da! Can you see them? Can you see his bones? Alright, the moment you've all been waiting for, a Minecraft dirt block frog. And I do mean this in the nicest way possible, but curse you all because this means I need to do some math. I'm not sure if you can tell by the vibes of this channel, but I'm not the most precise individual, so this was a little bit of a struggle. I started off with the grass, that seemed like the easiest way to start, and oh my god, this is gonna take forever. I'm just going to slowly fill in each of these 320 tiny squares, but I do like how he turned out. I hope you do too, and if you don't tell me. He took 6 hours to paint, but there's our SQUOG lineup. I hope you enjoyed this extended episode.